Be still.
What's
How
up,
are
man?
you?
I'm good.
Fight cards.
So this worked out. I wasn't sure if we were going to be able to jump on here or not. So
This is good. All right, let me get some tags going here. Got a couple people who wanted us to tag them, and then we will get rolling.
we have some hot takes, I'm sure, on last night's main event.
I don't know if there are any hot takes. I think for once everyone is in agreement on that one.
I think Jeffrey scored it different. I think he was good with it.
I think he's the only person who I saw at all who thought that Albazi had it.
Crazy night.
Yeah. So you know, you never know.
You never know. You never know. So did you get to go back and rewatch?
Um, I fell asleep watching it again. I fell asleep last night watching it live, and then I fell asleep. Then I fell asleep watching it today.
You got
So
to
I
pace
didn't
you
get
got
all
to
the way
pace
through yet.
yourself better.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. It's weird. The rhythm of some fights puts me under.
yeah.
Um, if I can't sleep, I turn on Max Holloway versus Calvin Cater or Whaley versus Jędrzejczyk.
Hmm.
I don't
Those
know what
put you to sleep.
they do. The fights where they tag each other up a lot. I don't know if it's the rhythm or the sound of the leather hitting skin, but for some reason, it was also. I just got home. I was gonna try and watch fighting, and I didn't have it in me both times. So we'll get there
So
at
if
the end of the week. I've
so
seen
on
everything else on the card though.
do what?
I've seen everything else on the card though. I just didn't see
Yeah.
the entire.
Yeah, there was a few good ones on there, man.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my goodness, Jim Miller knocking out a
Welcome to
French.
the UFC.
Exactly. Oh, you want to fight in 2 days? Are you sure?
Tell you what, that was as clean a left as I've seen in a long time, and he touched him up one last time on the way to the mat, and I think he was already asleep. Shut this AC off real quick.
Yeah. So
All right, man. So do you want to chat about follow up on this on the brief little idea before we get into the cards into the any cards related to the fight with the 25s.
sure. So to 99s are insane. There's a lot of them, and with the value of cards dropping, B still thinks, and I agree. All right. Who's Clint McCain? What is up?
Clint,
Oh my
Clint,
goodness.
I love that
The
guy,
meme king and
dude.
now the king of cute bulldog puppies.
Listen, he is a great follow on social media.
My God, he is the best. Yeah, the meme king. Yeah. So anyway, uh, to 99s, unless it's a crazy rookie, is not going to be worth anything. But to 25s, and the fact that there are three of them in this set, we're going to take a look at some of the prices onto 25s. So in
Yeah,
the blasters, you've got the green pulsar. In the undercard, you have the blue disco to 25, and in the hobby, you have Mojo this year.
right.
So let me.
And I think we were talking after just briefly. You and I touched on this, and I think in looking at all the cards, um, unless it's somebody that's just super hot and the 25s are a little more than what you want to pay, we're a small niche in the hobby, and I know there's a lot of cards that get ripped, and but the 25 is a lot of them, and that's assuming that the majority of them is out, and they seem to move, they seem to change hands a little bit. People like them, people get excited about having, it's a 25. But I think, I'd like to start looking at collecting, the to 25s of a fighter if they've got, if they've got the three. And so I'd like to take a closer look at this and see what they're selling at.
Okay. We can go down the list. If we shenan once,
Well, you got a shenanigan.
no doubt. We're here to shenan again, Sean Foster, who is watching on YouTube. If you're brave enough to show your name in the comments, uh, for whatever reason, our platform called StreamYard doesn't show the Facebook name, but it does show the YouTube name. So anyway, your choice, people. Your choice. UFC Card Community or at Fight Cards Nate on YouTube. So live on both platforms. So I can scroll through and we can take a look if there's anything that catches your eye. We talk about it, or I can look some fighters up if you're curious on specifics.
Um, yeah, look, see if you can look at Olberg to 25s.
Did I spell it right? Ulberg.
Yeah.
Okay. Ooh, there you go. So his mojo.
Okay.
Recent sales 165, 150, 150, 125. So there's a fighter on the rise. We haven't seen any pulsars or any blue discos yet.
Interesting.
No.
So I'm curious to see, and I'm also curious to see if we can find someone to see if the mojo out of hobby is a carries more value.
Sure.
With it being out of the hobby box. So maybe someone else that you could probably even look at. Well, we didn't have undercard last year. So maybe Bo, yeah.
Take a look at Bo. So, really, that's it? Nothing? Never mind. All right. Here, let's scroll through the list here. Maybe Blanchfield. I think I saw some of hers that were for sale. Sometimes I do my homework, gang. Sometimes I don't. All right, so $100, $102, $102
the blue disco.
For the blue disco. 255. So May 19th versus June 3rd. One said, well, that was a 210, 210, 175.
And see, Blanchfield is someone that I see being in select, which means tie-dye to 25.
Sure.
And so there's another, that you're adding to that. I like the idea of collecting small sets, rainbows anymore. There's so many cards. And if you don't have the 101, then it really needs to be a fighter that no one cares about. So, but to 25s seem to carry good value, and they don't seem to dip. They seem to retain value a little bit better,
Sure.
So if a 99 is $20 and you have a loss or you have a bad showing and it drops, or from recency bias, it drops to $12 or $13, that's half. To whereas a mojo at 125, 150, a bad showing, I don't see that card dropping down to $75. And so I think it's a risk. It's a less risk, more reward on the long end or through the dips. Who is that asked about the Giga Mojo?
That was our captain, our king of Kron. And I'm guessing a Giga Mojo is $20 now. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, because the reality of it is what happened to Giga after Cater. So people that are shopping Giga or people that are, or people aren't hopping on Giga as a hot prospect anymore. If you're a Giga buyer, you're a Giga fan.
Sure.
And so, you're not gonna. There's not going to be a big market out there. It seems like he just, I'm ready for him to come back.
So, you know what? That's Prizm 23. So his Prizm 23 is obviously $10, $12, $5, $5, $10, $12. Let's just say, let's take the year out and we'll see. But I was thinking rookie card when we spoke on that. Um, so last year, maybe even more. Last year's card is $27, and there are just no rookies. So maybe his rookie is worth more, but I wouldn't expect it to be, because his rookies had some value, and then it kind of busted when he lost his fight.
He was a nice middle of the pack there in 21, especially
Yeah.
towards the end, the back third of the year. And then, that Cater fight, which I stand by, was a horrible matchup, horrible fight in the Apex. That's far too small of a place for him to try to work against a pressure guy like Calvin, because he just, if you don't remember that fight, go back and watch it, because Calvin gave everything Giga could handle in that small a space. That's a different fight in a full size octagon. And after that, the Giga market just bombed.
Yeah.
I mean, it bombed bad. And he's still super talented. But where has he been? That Calvin fight, it's been over a year.
So his rookie lucky envelope to 8 went for $47. So, that
gives you an idea of what that market is. And to me, that's a great buy. I mean, if you're a Giga fan.
The Apex does have a smaller cage.
It's 30% smaller, Sean.
Yeah. It's 1 or 2 feet smaller on each side, which shrinks down significantly.
30%. 30%. Yeah. And so, go back and watch that fight and you'll see what I'm talking about, because Giga, with his kicks and his movement, Calvin pressured him and just didn't have the room to move. And if you remember Giga's face after that fight, Calvin diced him up. And for Giga fans everywhere, that was a tough fight to watch, because I moved a bunch of Giga cards the week before that fight, and they were moving around, and the market was still pretty strong back then. You had greens out of blasters that were going for $25 and $30.
I hit in the first Immaculate box that I bought. I hit the Giga base card to 10, so to 65 went for 20 on Buy It Now. That gives me some hope. Although I love Giga. I'm never going to sell my Immaculate to 10. That's part of a small stack of cards I'll never sell.
Yeah.
I don't know. They talked about it a lot in the very beginning of the pandemic. Why did you not know this? They talked about the size of the octagon a lot in the beginning of the pandemic when they were in the Apex, and they haven't made it really an issue out of it. You just don't hear about that as much anymore. I think it's understood. People take it for granted as a fact. But yeah.
And from the Contender Series, and then 2 fights before the UFC, and then I think you rattled off 7 in a row. And that Calvin fight was in January of 22. So it's been almost a year and a half.
Right.
With no fight scheduled. And so you wonder, what, and at 34, if it's not a health issue, he got fucked up, man. Calvin worked him, and he was real uncomfortable. He couldn't do what he normally does. So I don't know. I digress. It'll be interesting to see. But so back to the 25s. Sure. So I'm real curious to try to find someone that has. What about Alex or Almeida?
Sure. Give me a second to find. I think I knew we were going to ask about that. So we haven't seen any of his
blues,
anything other than his mojos so far. Other than his mojos so far.
Interesting.
So let's go through and see if we can see anyone that's got all 3 so far. I think we're gonna have to look for Pulsar because that's new and the least sold.
You mean the disco?
No, the green Pulsar.
Oh, right. Yeah.
See if we have anything here. Okay, so Molly, Kyle.
Okay.
That's been much. That's crazy.
Kyle for $100, huh?
Yeah. I can't believe Molly's not more popular. I wonder if she's linked with Patty, or is it because she got smoked by Blanchfield? I thought
I think
maybe more
it's a
personality.
combination of
Yeah.
things. I think it's a combination of things. I think as Patty goes, Molly goes as well. And, and the whole, Gordon fight with Patty, that definitely took a dip, which will tie into talking about, the Albazi fight and what's going to happen with that market. But um, that combined with Blanchfield just doing what she did. I mean, that was embarrassing.
CAIO. So I'm bad at spelling bees still. I have to like.
There we go.
Okay, so
Oh, there you, well,
that's a teal, but
okay.
so we've got the green pulsar and the mojo, and obviously, and yeah, that tracks. So
Yeah.
the green pulsars look a little matrixy this year. It's kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
I think just the squareness of the border of the Prism card this year does a lot more for the different patterns on the cards.
Yeah. Yeah. The mojos look real clean.
Yeah. Let's see. I guess I have to spell the whole thing. All right. So
No blue discos.
yeah,
Huh.
175. Oh, there's a blue
Interesting.
disco, but no.
Oh,
I
well,
don't
there's a
think
blue
we have
disco.
any example of the full rainbow availability yet. That's crazy.
So they're just not out there. I mean,
210, 175. Yeah. Really exciting.
so I love the idea of hunting one of each of the mojos of the people that that you're into. I think it's obviously going to be a more affordable than anything below 25, but I think it's a sound investment.
And
Uh,
it seems to me that there was a heavy front load of mojos in the beginning of the release. So
I
it'd be
agree.
interesting to see um, if we still see them trickle out. On the other hand, I'm off whatnot now, so I don't know what people are hitting.
Yeah.
And I mean, the Facebook groups people show stuff off, so that's
Hey, go back to that Karine Silva blue disco. It was at the bottom.
yeah.
That's just
That's
somebody stole that.
Well, that's a blue 75. Her
Oh,
card
it's
number is
75. Oh,
25.
okay.
That's why that's
Okay.
going to pop up.
And it looks terribly off centered.
Not I've seen worse. I've seen way worse. You know what? Sorry. I've seen worse.
Mm. Oh no, that's not bad. That's not. It must have just been the picture I was looking at. That actually looks really good.
Yeah.
Um, there's one to have right there. She looked so sharp last night.
Did she
Oh man, she is just a submission machine.
did she
That was
pop
my
her knee out when she was applying the submission, or was that her opponent's knee?
that was her opponent's name.
Because I watched that fight like semi, like
Yeah,
paying close attention, but yeah.
yeah. She's a good one. She's a real good one. She's real crafty. Try Frivola. There was a lot of activity after his fight, and see if
Okay.
he might have been someone that moved quite a bit. That after that last one.
Sure. A little bit.
Yeah. Still, no. I wonder if what the movement on undercard as a product has been after everybody kind of felt like they figured out what you get out of a box.
Yeah, it's so what you can get back on undercard. Not much, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's down to about 130 right now. Let's see here on
So
blowout.
there's no one of ones, there's no to fives, there's no to eights, there's golds to 25s and to 99s.
Yeah, and the big bummer is the variations don't have numbers, and then the autos are either base or gold.
Okay, so I didn't realize that there's no blue disco autos.
Nope, autos
Mm.
are either base or gold. So let's see here. Where is it? I'm on blowout right now on another screen. Here, I'll stop sharing. We don't. If we want to come back to that, we can.
Well, I'm just so to build these to 25s, um, sets of to 25, it looks like either there's still a lot out there or just a lot is not moving.
Right. $130 for an undercard box now.
Okay, so it's down $40.
Yeah.
Hmm. Well, it was a nice experiment.
Yeah.
I like the cards. I like the way they look, but it's a shame that you can't pull. I sure didn't know about the autos.
Yeah.
Realize.
And the box configuration being predictable. I don't know if that helps or hurts, but I just think it's a missed. You know, the fact that you can't get a colored, because the image variations are cool, but they're, if you figure there's 20 image variations. What's up, Brett Michael? How are you?
What's going on, man?
Jeffrey K just rolled in here, of course.
What's up, Jeff?
You know, I don't love the selection of fighters for the image variations, but they are cool cards. You know, they're mostly legends, and it sucks that so there's only 20, and when you figure how many, you know, there's one of each fighter on average per case.
Right.
You've got 20 boxes in a case, and then so that's a ton. There's just a ton of them.
A lot of them.
Right?
They're worth a
They
couple
short
of bucks.
printed a couple of them and didn't tell anybody, but
Yeah, they're worth a couple of bucks. And can you get those in gold?
No, that's the issue. The image variations are that there's no scarcity to them.
They missed an opportunity with that.
Yeah. So I'm back on eBay now, just doing 7-day auctions.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here, and I've been selling. I was selling my So the Powhatan image variation I did on the 7-day auction sold for $11.50. The notorious McGregor image variation, $20.50. The Sugar O'Malley variation, $10.50. Somebody bid 99 cents on the Bones Jones image variation and didn't pay. But that one has comps at like $10, $20. So I don't know. But anyway, yeah, so those are the hot ones, right? And then I sold a whole bunch of the variations as a lot to the Global family for I don't know. I don't remember. Maybe like $2 a card or something like that.
I have 723 Mojo so far.
This is Jeffrey.
Okay.
Yeah. I have one. I have Talia Santos, and I had Cejudo, and I got rid of it.
Jeff, the reason we were talking about that is before you hopped on here, I believe it was before you got on, we were talking, Nate and I were talking after the show last week, and about investing in, what are you willing to spend that has value below 99? and we kind of settled on to 25 being a nice sort of a subset to build. If you could get all the 25, one of a 25 of every card of a fighter that you like, because the 25 seem to, with either recency bias or the market dipping or a loss, they seem to lose less value as percentage wise. And they're nice cards. Most people are super stoked that they get it to 25, but you can find deals out there. And so we were talking about the 25s of the rookies so far. So you have a blue disco, the green pulsar out of the blaster, correct, Nate?
Yeah.
And then you have the mojo. So there's 3 right now. And then obviously we're anticipating that the fighters that have a select card that were also in Prizm will add a 4th by having a tie-dye in select. And so, and if it stops there, to have those 4 cards, that's
a nice. Be more than 4, because select will give you 3 or 4 tiers, and then maybe inserts.
To 25.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because if you remember, the tie-dyes were for all 4 levels. They were for.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, I'm assuming. Yeah, I'm assuming. I guess I'm just stuck on, like, for instance, all Bozzy had 1 card last year.
Yeah, that's true. So you're right. I mean, it'll be interesting to see now that there are more fighters in the sets if they're going to do more single card.
Right.
Single card fighters.
Right.
Would you rather have be still 3 or 4 cards of a fighter, or only a card at, say, one of the levels?
I would rather have 2. Mm-hmm. I would rather have a concourse or a premier, but definitely an octagon side. I'd like to have, because I like the fact that you get that, which you don't get in, Prizm, is multiple poses.
Yeah.
And so that's a nice feature. So I'd like to have an octagon side and then just 1. I don't need a concourse and a premier level, and but the octagon side is for sure.
I think better fighters should be in the higher levels, right? So
right.
You can put your garbage rookies and your veterans no one cares about in concourse and premier, and then octagon side and Mez could be. Although Mez is interesting, because if they do Mez again, it's in blasters again, that's an interesting dilemma, right?
Right.
You have to buy that product to chase something crazy. I don't know.
I'm very fearful, dude. We ripped so much select this past year. I mean, I remember one Saturday, Brennan and I went up to my work, and I think we ripped 19 boxes that we had picked up from various stores, and we loved that product. I loved the mezzanine cards. That's still my favorite card, and so I fear that Panini is going to screw it up this year. I already don't like the set as much.
Yeah.
The look is not as it's over embellished, in my opinion, but we'll see.
Last year was like they just hit it right, but
on the meat of the bat, and it just rocketed out of the park. I mean, it was a home run. But they were obviously front loaded too. Like I think the green pulsars are in Prizm.
I shaved my beard and I can't stand looking at my fat face, so it's coming back. But I select is an acquired taste. We'll have to see if we fall in love with it over time, because Select 21 I did not love, and now accept it.
Right. Yeah, I wasn't crazy about Select 21 either, but last year was great, so we'll see. But so let's shift gears real quick.
Sure.
Did you say I want to? I have been reading comments all day, and hello.
I'm here.
Okay, I lost. My screen went out on me.
Good.
So I've been reading comments all day. Obviously, we watched the fights last night, and it brings up how bad is a bad win for card value.
Sure.
And the three examples now that we have, in my opinion, is the Patty
Yep.
fight, and that obviously impacted his market. And I think that wound cut so deep that it even went down to the way he acted after the fight.
Sure.
Just like very like he had won, like he felt like it was clearly a win, and that market took a whooping.
It's dead.
I think
when they hit a Patty, but no one's buying.
Yeah, I think that I think Kamzat market took a hit after the Burns fight.
Yeah.
Now, some of that could have been timing and the economy and the market taking a dip, but
it pushed it down substantially.
yeah, that's what I
that way, but it pushed it down substantially.
That's what I felt too. And then so I wonder, as somebody who's been, and I say heavily, not really dollar value, because I got on Albazi when I first found out that he had cards, and scooped up some stuff super cheap. And I mean, I'm sitting on probably 40 Albazi color cards, and I just wonder how last night will impact his market, because regardless of it's done now. I mean, and the reality of it is that the majority of people feel like that Kai was just not even robbed, but like just brutally robbed. Robbed at gunpoint and pistol whipped.
Yeah.
And so you start to read these things about people's. It's going to impact the fighter's personality, because people are annoyed by the person that got the undeserved victory, if you will. And so but I'm also thinking that I think that Albazi was still, I think there was a lot of people, that was a main event. I think there's a lot of people who didn't really know, they couldn't tell you who Albazi had fought.
Sure.
And, they couldn't tell you anything about him. So I'm just curious to see what happens to that market, because I like him long term. And I think the weird thing is we have a weird situation with Albazi now that he got the win, is he may match up better against someone above Kai than he matched up with Kai. Kai's takedown defense was almost 90%. He threw just stiff jabs the whole fight to try to keep Albazi off of him. And I wonder if it gets a little more violent with someone and some bad throws lead to some takedowns, Albazi could bounce right back and beat another top guy. And with submission, it could happen handily and it could happen quick. You never know, because I think he is a super talented fighter. I think that was just a weird fight last night, but I think Kai had him. So we'll see what happens with the cards.
Here's a little hypers. We had one today go for 7. We had one speculatively, although 21. This would have been after the fight, I think. Go for 14, and before that it was $1, $3, $1, $3. So anyway, who do you think? Where do you think he lands in the division? Do you think he wears gold? Do you think? I mean, I'm also wondering where he'll rank after that.
Well, here's what I think personally, and I could be wrong. I'll bet all these fights to back up my play, but I think Pantoja beats Brandon Moreno. I think that he may be the most talented person that people just don't even realize, almost in any weight class. He's just up there at the top. I mean, he's about to fight for a belt, and I think there's a lot of people that don't know anything about his game. He's a spider monkey, man. That guy gets on your back and it's over.
Yeah.
I mean, he I think you and I were joking. He's like, he'll be on you. I mean, you're wearing a backpack before you know it. And so I think that I think he beats Moreno. And then I think you have an interesting matchup if you have an Albazi Pantoja fight, because it's a completely different fight. That's two super elite grapplers and submission specialists going at each other. And in those kind of in in those kind of fights, man, anything could happen. So, I mean, I think that with the gift of a win last night, he's right in it, you know. But I just wonder how much he carries that scar, you know. Fortunately, it didn't happen to somebody that had a huge amount of fans. Because the reality of it is, I mean, you had your people, and people are coming out screaming for Kai's defense, but I just don't know how big Kai Car France is having a huge following.
Well, that's the thing. When he was on his way up, people were into him, and now that he, seems to have fallen out of the title picture, it's like, who cares?
Right.
Like the narrative of that whole crew being unstoppable. Well, they found their weak
Right.
spot. So here's a Teal to 49, April 14th, $40. A PSA 10, April 22nd, $100, and then on Wednesday the 31st, $70. So we'll have to see what happens with the next one that sells.
Somebody just commented Kai Car France to the top.
You think? No.
So did you go? So we'll shift gears again. Did you go in and watch the Abubakar fight?
I did, and it was unremarkable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was another one that I read some people commenting that they felt that somebody made a comment that the Albazi fight was the second robbery of the night, and the Abubakar fight was the first one. And go back and watch that fight specifically, Nate, and just suffer through what you're not going to get. It's not a spectacular fight, but
yeah.
I think for the first time, and I said this to my buddy, we were watching it together, and I said, Santos won that fight, in my opinion. And I think he won that fight because everything that Abubakar does well to win against people, he did against Santos, and he was unsuccessful. And I think the bigger shots were landed by Santos. I think the Abubakar round one. And Santos was 2-3. I think if you go back and watch it, and I think that you could make a case that Abubakar won based off of what we've seen in the past. You grab someone, you clinch, you hold them against the cage, you get a takedown, but he didn't do anything with it. And he never put him in danger. And Santos did a really good job of slipping and moving and grabbing hands and avoiding takedowns and avoiding damage. And it was nice to see for the first time someone score the fighter that withstood the onslaught from the other person and never got really in danger. And so that was one that, but the question is now what's up with the Abubakar Nurmagomedov? I mean, there were people that collected him or were heavy. I just read Sean Foster's comments, so I'm chuckling. Not that it ruined your life, Sean. I'm sorry, but this is what I'm talking about. It's what's up with this guy.
People were buying him because of his last name.
Yeah, I mean, I guess whatever side of the cousin tree he's on, it's not the side that you want to be on. I don't know. It's just unspectacular in so many ways. Islam and Khabib, I think there's people that could say they had a lot of unspectacular moments while they were mauling people. It wasn't fireworks.
Sure.
But I think with Abubakar, you just don't get any of that. You don't even get the mauling and it was uneventful to say the least. But I think they scored it right, and it was nice to see. I tell you too, I wish you had said before that you felt like Panini would put him in a set if they had an instant card, correct?
That was my opinion, and I was incorrect about that.
Oh, okay.
I think there were instances of fighters who didn't get rookies this year.
Yeah.
Although Select, with Select, we know they put some fighters in Select that weren't in Prizm. We know they put some in Donruss that weren't in Prizm, but it tends to just be a couple.
Yeah. Well, I know I had talked last week about Daniel Santos, and he fought Johnny Munoz last night, and it was a real interesting fight because it stole the it stole there was a few incidents that stole the sort of the stole the thunder from him, and I think I think that Daniel Santos is an absolute killer at bantamweight. I think he's a headhunter. He's real creative. His striking is really crisp and really clean. He's real accurate. He's real fast. But man, he came out in the first 10 seconds and just punted. I mean, absolutely punted Johnny Munoz in the nuts. I mean, just
that fight was I go back, if I miss it live, I go back and I watch the individual fights. That fight was 35 minutes long.
dude, that fight. I mean, he punted him, dude. It was shin to groin, and that threw the fight off. But if you go back and just from somebody who likes to watch, um, the fights for just the skill set, go back and watch that kid. He's super interesting, man. And
Sorry.
it just he's one that I would love to see have cards in the near future, but he's probably going to have to maybe have a big fight and not punt somebody in the groin.
By the way, going back, Tapology has Abubakar as the number 55 best welterweight
Okay,
in the world. So
let me catch up on this here. What is it, Brian? Oh, Brian sells me a nice Albazi and downgrades his market on the next stream. Listen, I'm buying Albazi, so don't. I think that it was a bad decision, but bad decisions happen, and he got the win. So if the market dips, I'm going to double down because I love Albazi long term. I really, really do. I think he's a cool guy. I think he's an interesting guy. I think he's got an awesome approach to it. And
I think he's probably marketable. Good story, right?
do what?
I think he's probably marketable. He's got a good backstory.
I love it, dude. I love it. Kid moved from Iraq, dude, to avoid war and then got bullied in Sweden and started learning how to fight. I love it. I mean, he's an interesting guy. He's a good follow on Instagram too. And
this fight feeds into the judges are lining up fighters based on their marketability conspiracy, right?
Mhm.
Patty, O'Malley, Obazi. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Carter Front's had his moment. Now we want to elevate Obazi.
We'll see what happens. I do, like I said, I'm going to be fascinated to watch how his market plays out because he could really come in and get a shot at a title or at the top contender and win that fight, and it'd be easier than what he went through last night. So certainly not downgrading the market. And I'll put you on a buyback program if you want.
Yeah, that's funny. That's
my point. I'm assuming that's Jeffrey that just said that. That Roy Val was the fight that was supposed to happen. And that fight got pushed off, and Roy Val looked real good. And I was a big Roy Val holder in 21. I still have quite a bit of color of Roy Val. I think that Albazi is a bad matchup for Roy Val. I think Kai was just crafty enough last night to point him on volume punches, and they weren't. It is what it is, But I like him against Moreno, Pantoja, and Royval. Probably better than Kai. So
I don't even try to predict, man. I feel like I don't actually know who's good. I just know that the gap between like the top of the divisions, and even that second tier can be like a mile. But then again, look at like Bantam where they can all just beat each other. I'm wondering if Fly is another one of those cases where they can all just beat each other.
Yeah, well, I think it can be, but I think that when you look at Pantoja and Albazi in the top of that, I think that you got some really elite grapplers in there, man. And Roy Val's no joke either. I mean, Roy Val's got a good, solid ground game. You got some real good fights. I stand by. Flyweight's real fun and interesting right now, especially when Makayev comes back in and gets in the mix.
Sure. So, yeah.
So we also, and we touched on this a little bit last week. Alex Caceres.
Sure.
He's a fun guy, man. You know, and how tough is Pineda?
My God, it was like Caceres was banging on a tree at the end there, or a heavy bag or something like that. It was like a heavy bag.
He had a couple of body kicks that just, there was one in particular, and I think it was in the second round when he caught him and he stopped and backed up, and I thought they were going to stop the fight, and I think Caceres did too.
He did that twice where he just backed up. It's like, what are you admiring your work, or you think that they're going to stop it?
Yeah. But, Caceres was 15 after that fight. And what an impressive record Pineda has, man. Just the number of fights. Was talking about it last week. The guys had like 19 submissions going into that fight.
Yeah.
I think they said every fight he'd ever won had been a finish.
Yeah.
Never into the cards on a victory. And that's a good win for Caceres. In the times that they did go down, Caceres looked good. He rolled, he scrambled, he fought for position, and that's a dangerous person. So it makes me even more interested in Caceres now. I don't like the fact that he wasn't able to knock him out at the end.
Sure.
And I don't know if how much of that was a high volume fight. That was a rapid paced fight. Those guys fought for, they fought all 15 minutes. And so, but Caceres is real interesting. And like you said, what a great card to have, that 21 Prizm, that first year Prizm of his. Because I went back and looked at those. I've been shopping this week. And I think they're probably still going to be super cheap, man.
Yeah, no doubt.
And so that, Caceres is one of those guys. I'll tell you somebody else. Brennan mentioned this today, and it's fun going through this hobby and watching fights with a kid that sees so much stuff that is all new to him.
Sure.
He's constantly watching old fights. Like he went down this BJ Penn rabbit hole about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And I think he may have watched every BJ Penn fight he could find on YouTube, and as he asked last night, he's like, man, I got to get a Jim Miller card.
Yeah.
And because that was such a great, you can't tell the history of the UFC without Jim Miller in there. And that was such just a highlight reel knockout.
Yeah.
And
right
so
in there.
I told Brennan, I was like, well, I'll tell you what, you could probably go get you a really nice Jim Miller card for $50, man.
Really nice Jim Miller card for $50.
Yeah. And so so we got some shopping to do.
Let's see. I'm interested. Let's see what's out there. I may have just traded for a Jim Miller auto. I'm not sure. I might be getting cash. I'm not sure. But either way, let's see.
Did he watch BJ Penn bar fights? I don't know. I'm not even familiar with the BJ Penn bar fights.
So let's see. We've got the Pulsar rookie, first year Prizm, $40. These are really cool. Top of the class 2016 with the relics. I don't know if they're fight worn or not. Probably not. But they look cool. I like the symmetry on the cards. Here you go. 2009 round 2, first auto, $25.
Yeah.
$20. 2016 top of the class, $10. Dope. I like those cards.
I like those 2010 tops as well.
Yeah, I may have traded for this card. It's not clear to me what we've actually done, but Topps Finest was a really cool set. What is this? Panini Instant Breaking Barriers. Interesting. That must be a an instant set.
Yeah, it is. I saw that too.
I stopped paying attention to.
I don't even go on there anymore.
I don't. Yeah.
So there's a lot of there's a lot of old good Jim Miller stuff for super cheap.
But look at this. To the main event, gold,
What's up?
$3 Canadian. Tops 2014 champions. I hate these cards.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
$20 for his immaculate to 5.
How much?
$20
$20.
for his immaculate to 5.
Yeah. See, there's a lot of good stuff out there. I'm gonna have to hunt some down and put them in a mystery pack for him.
Yeah, these are cool. The 2017. I don't know what set that is. There, uh, it might be Chronicles. I don't know, but anyway.
Oh, Sean, yeah, I did see that. Yeah, yeah. I don't know why I missed that reference after you said that. Yeah, he's seen that. He has seen it, and it's fun. It is funny, off topic, but you know, it's I think it's annoying to Angie that the only thing Brennan watches is people beating people up. You know? And then the games, it's no more Madden or FIFA. It's now UFC 4 that he has buddies online that he can play with. And so the sounds coming out of the family room are constantly of leather hitting skin and people grunting. And
Off topic. Off topic. Did you see the trailer for the new Ninja Turtles movie?
no.
It's animated like Into the Spider-Verse, and they changed them up a little bit. They've redrawn the characters and given them new voices. But whatever, the Ninja Turtles can be reinvented every 10 years for all I care. I'm always gonna love it.
Right.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
not off topic. Off topic. They're martial artists.
Yeah. Right. What's fun too is that Eddie's getting into that. He'll be all about that, about the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
And then we'll live with a small Ninja Turtle for about a year. But Eddie has almost convinced me to let him pause his jujitsu and put him in the karate class. I think he's more interested in kickboxing than the jujitsu. And I think part of it is because of the first 20 minutes of drills.
Okay.
I don't think he likes the drills, but so yeah, we'll be watching the Ninja Turtles for sure. Let's jump on before we get right here to the end of our hour. So we have a big one coming up.
This is the correct answer, by the way. Yeah, the cartoon from when I was a kid. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So let's look forward.
So UFC 289, June 10th. We're less than a week away. So this is Nunez and Aldana, Oliveira and Dariush. Got a rookie, Mike Mallett's in this year's. There's a lot of Canadians on this card. They're up fighting in Vancouver. So Mike Mallett's got rookie cards. I've noticed a little bit of. I've noticed some people requesting or selling a few Mike Mallett cards or posting lots, and then in the comments, people are looking for Mallett. So I know these people know he's got a fight coming up. So that's going to be an interesting one. You got Ige and Nate Landwehr. I'm super pumped about that fight. I'm really looking forward to that one.
Yeah.
That's going to be a great fight. The Mallett Adam Fugit fight is a fun fight too, I think. The Eric Anders fight, I'm not really super pumped about that. He's fighting Barry Alt. Imavov and Curtis, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. There's 23 rookie cards right there. Curtis at 14, who, what Curtis are we going to get? And then, Imavov's back at it, and they both got cards. Imavov's last fight was the decision loss to Strickland.
Okay.
So I'm real curious to see Imavov back back in there because that was January. So he's fighting again for second time this year. And let's see. There is Khalil Roundtree and Dawkins is off. I'm assuming Dawkins was injured. He hurt himself somehow, got knocked out before he could get knocked out. He is not. That is no more. So I don't know if they found a replacement for Khalil Roundtree, who was a minus 240 favorite in that fight. Anyways, I think Dawkins was going to get murdered. So we'll see. I don't know if they found somebody else for Roundtree on short notice or not.
So Tapology has Curtis at 14 and Imavov at 15. I don't know
Okay,
what
so they're
UFC ranked.
Their UFC rankings, yeah, they're ranked in the UFC. I think it's 12 and 14 is actually where they have them. Let me look at that real quick.
12 and 14.
Yeah, 12 and 14.
Yeah.
12 and 14. So that's a good fight. I'm interested in that one. I think that I think Imavov is a more technical fighter, but we'll see. You know, Chris Curtis is one of those guys. If he lands right, he can shut your lights out. So that's a good one. I'm the Mongolian murderer. Ling, I think is how you say it, is fighting Ayman Zahabi, and I'm a big Zahabi fan. I like Zahabi, and that's a real close fight. They got Ling at like minus 130, but that's on the undercard. That's just before the Miranda Maverick fight. That's a real good one. I think that could be a potential fight of the night. David Dvorak is fighting on the early prelims. This is a good card, man. I think there's up and down. It's not filled with big names, but I like a lot of these fights. The Landwehr Ige fight is going to be a good one too. You know,
the fact that Oliveira Dariush is not a main event on some other card blows my mind. That's going to be a crazy fight.
It does blow my mind too. But I will tell you that I don't think we're going to be disappointed. I really think the Aldana fight is going to be much like the stand-up part of Pena and Nunez won. You know, I think they're gonna exchange is what I mean. I think they're gonna stand there, and Pena's game plan in that fight against Nunez was to stand in there and trade with her. She wasn't afraid to get hit by her, you know. And somebody said something to me the other day that made a lot of sense, and I hadn't really thought about it from this perspective when it came to Nunez. Pena won, but you know, everybody said Nunez showed up. She wasn't ready to fight. You know, she had overlooked her. She had, all these things that she'd been champ for a long time. She was complacent. She overlooked her. She undertrained. And I don't know now after the comment somebody said, and the point was, you know, you never really saw Nunez get faced off the way Pena faced off with her from the get-go on that fight. And it makes you wonder, is that type of unexpected pressure, is that what kind of threw her off a little bit? And I'm real curious to see. I'm curious to see if it's the Nunez that was pre-Pena 1 and in Pena 2, Aldana may not stand a chance. But the simple fact that we've seen a Nunez come in there that was vulnerable because of some reason, to me, it's an interesting fight. I think it's going to be more interesting than people think.
The fact that, I'll tell you, the world would be a different place if Nunez had never lost, because she was just unstoppable forever. And now that seed of doubt is in there every fight, right?
Well, I think that you'd be foolish not to think that if it's happened once, it can happen again. We may never know the reason it happened, but it happened. And I agree, the world is a different place if there is no, if the only fight we have against Pena is Pena 2, dude, she tore her up, man. I mean, she tore her up, but it doesn't change the fact that what happened in one happened in one, and it very easily could have been because of the approach that she took. And so I'm just curious to see what happened. I rewatched Home versus Aldana this morning. Irene doesn't have a get-up game. It's going to be interesting. I'm wondering too if Amanda sort of abandons the 70-30, 75-25 striking versus grappling and just doesn't go straight straight down and just start trying to dominate this fight physically, just really, really physically putting her hands on Aldana and getting in the clinch and making her real uncomfortable. So I think it's an interesting fight, but I agree. It's odd that Dariush and Oliveira is a co-main event because that's a big one.
That's a big. I can't imagine those guys not tearing it down.
Well, it's super big too because they just came out and announced that, you know, it's confirmed that whoever wins this fight is on that card in London.
Mm-hmm.
And so they'll fight Islam, you know.
Crazy.
I love Charles Oliveira. I was indifferent to him until later in his career, but I like the fact that seems to be as a respectful a fighter as he is. He's super talented. He seems like a real interesting guy. But I want Dariush to win this fight because I got to see Dariush versus Islam.
Have to.
I think that
arguably he should have had the match already.
Yeah.
But we will. He'll fight one more time.
Yeah. This fight can be very important to Nunez's legacy now that Val lost her bat. I agree. Listen, I think that I think that if not just the way Valentina lost, but if Nunez comes out and does to Aldana what she did in Pena too, I think that it's hands down. I don't even think you can make the argument that she's not the greatest women's mixed martial artist ever. And I don't know if at that point who else she fights or what else she has to prove, you know. So it'll be interesting. It's good ones. We have a lot of good fights coming up, man. We have a lot of really interesting fights coming up. So you got this weekend, and then we'll just do like we did last week. We'll skip ahead one more time. Vittori Cannonier is on that 17. That's an interesting, and also on that you have Arman fighting.
Yep.
Let's see. You got some interesting ones down towards the bottom. Guys that
Jimmy Flick is back.
Jimmy Flick's on that. Dan Arguetta's fighting on that card against Ronnie Lawrence. I like that fight a lot. That's an interesting fight to me. I think Argueta probably takes that fight, but Zumagulov, he's making his standard seemingly once every couple of months appearance against Felipe Bunez. That's kind of a low-key Nicholas Dalby's fighting on that against Muslim Salikov. That could be a really good fight. That's the top one on the prelims. So this one's actually, as far as real recognizable names, you have Pat Sabatini fighting in that. So you've got some card reference, you've got some card impact there. And then the one after that is the Emmett Ilya Topuria fight. That's on June 24th.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Oh boy is right.
Yeah.
Oh boy is right. And then that card's kind of splattered. We can go over that one next week. Sure. I will tell you, I'll make my early prediction. Looking at this, so is it Ricci? Tabitha Ricci? Is that how you pronounce it? Baby Shark?
Yeah.
I'm wondering what the line against Jillian Roberts is going to be on that June 24th event, because I wonder how her popularity, and you know, she's a cute girl and everybody's kind of got her whole social media following. Jillian Anderson puts her to sleep in that fight, in my opinion, and it could happen. It could happen in the first round. And so I'm real curious. We'll follow it. We got 3 weeks to follow up on that. And if anybody has an opinion or a hot take or knows anything about Jillian Anderson, I'm certainly welcome to listen or throw in on a bet the house submission prop bet. But I think, is Tabitha Ricci going to be Tracy Cortez? Have her following because she's a hot chick and and in the UFC. But I think Jillian Robertson. I think she puts her to sleep.
Do we have any corner kid news in the coming week or weeks?
We no. Sadly, it's been kind of stalled out with the house. But I said Robertson.
Right.
I think that I think we're going to try to get this last video done. I got 2 to edit and post them. I'll try to get them done this week. I fly out to Phoenix on Wednesday, so I'm going to have some computer time on the plane and can work on some stuff. But we've got the 9 packs of tag cards we have to open. So we're going to try to do that tomorrow. So, of course, that's what we said yesterday. But
well, everybody, if you're not following the Corner Kid UFC reactions RI2182 on the YouTubes, do that.
I will tell you, Corner Kid related from a funny social standpoint of us remembering what it's like to be kids. It's now officially been run through the school that Brennan has his own YouTube. So
yeah,
I think it was a slow build, but yeah, it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny to watch Brennan and his pseudo celebrity at 11 years old amongst a small group of tweeners, So, but we're having fun with it. May PM you about a friendly card bet on that one. Ooh. Okay, let's do that. Was that Jeffrey?
Was that Jeffrey? Yes, it was.
Yeah, I'm definitely down on that. And I did see the Rose on the flow grappling. Yeah, she that did not look good. I like her a lot. I like Robertson a lot. She's got an interesting story, and I think she's super talented. I think she's got a bright future. She's still young. So yeah, let's do a card bet. We'll make it public on here, and we'll make a big anything else that you want on that card. Maybe we can throw some stuff together. So be fun. We'll figure it out. That's all I got, man. Tomorrow's Monday.
Tomorrow is Monday. All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging with us. Always fun to talk about cards and fighting and banter and react to your comments. So, Corner Kid on YouTube. We do this Sunday nights. Potential break in the action coming up here. We're going to.
You got a big trip?
Yeah, I'm doing a road trip this summer, and I just don't see. Maybe we can pull it off. No promises. So we'll call this season 1. maybe season 1 comes to an end next weekend. But either way, we'll do what we can here, and talk to you next week, Beast.
Sounds good, man. Have a great Monday, dude. Good night, guys.
We have to come up with a sign off. I always feel awkward. All right. Good night, everybody.
Bye.